Hello, what we're going to be covering in this video is a couple of common methodologies that you can use to format strings. The two methodologies we're going to look at are the format function and fstrings. So program output commonly includes variables as a part of the text. The string format function allows a programmer to create a string with placeholders that are replaced by values or variable values at execution. A placeholder surrounded by curly braces is called a replacement field. So we're going to be doing all of this in the interactive shell. So the first thing I need to do is specify a variable that will hold today's month, which is January, a variable to hold today's date, which is the 11th, and a variable to hold today's year, which is 2021. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a formatted string using the format function. So let me just specify my opening and closing single quotes, and then within that I will just go ahead and specify today is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the replacement field. So what I want to print out is today is January 11th, 2021. So the first replacement field is where the date will show, or the month will show up. The second is where the day will show up. I'll add my comma. And the third is where the month will show up. So what I need to do now is I need to call my format function, and I need to pass in the values that will get added to my replacement field. So what I'm going to pass in, and these must be specified in the correct order. So I will pass in month, then day, and then year. And we want to go ahead, so this is my string. We want to go ahead and print the string out. So I will just call my print function with that string. So if I go ahead and hit return, it prints out today is January 11, 2021. What it has done is for my first replacement field, it has taken the value found in month, which is January, and it's placed it there. Second replacement field, it's taken the value found in day and replaced it there. And then the third replacement field, it's taken the value stored in our year variable and it replaced it in, or added it to my third replacement field. So the other way we can go ahead and print the same information out is by using an f-string. Python 3.6 introduced f-strings, which is like the format function. F-strings have an f prefix before the starting quotation mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my f-string. So again, I need to specify the f. So Python knows I'm creating an f-string. And then I will specify today is, and then in my replacement field, what I do is I just include either the variable name or the value that I want to show up in that replacement field. So I'll just specify month, day, and then comma, year. So again, all of this other information, my spaces will show up in the string because that's what I'm creating when I'm actually using this print f string. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and print this information out, print my string out. So I will just go ahead and enclose it within the print function, and again it prints the same information out. So the next thing we're going to look at is how you can format information within using the format function or using an f-string. And how you do that is by specifying a format specification. And a format specification inside of a replacement field allows the values formatting in the string to be customized. A presentation type can be set in a replacement field by inserting a colon and providing one of the following presentation types. So the first one we're going to go through is the presentation type for a string. And what that is what we need to do is we need to specify. So within my replacement field, I will go ahead and specify a colon and an S. And that lets Python know that what I want to do is I want to format the information that gets added to that replacement field as a string. So I will just go ahead and pass in a string. We'll pass in Aiden, and then if we go ahead and print that out, it'll just go ahead and print out Aiden. So the next thing we're going to look at is how you can go ahead and format an integer value. So in order to do that, we'll type in print and then a colon and then my replacement field. And inside that replacement field, it'll be the colon. And then what it is D for decimal. So I will go ahead and specify a D. And then we will specify format. Oh, I need to include that within my string. And then what we're going to do is pass in 4. And that will get formatted as an integer type. So we'll go ahead, hit enter. It gets formatted at 4. Say, for instance, if you wanted to add some space before the integer value, what you could do is, let me just copy and paste this information down below. Say, for instance, if I wanted my integer to be displayed within 5 spaces, I can just go ahead and specify a 5 here before the actual decimal. So before the D. So this will tell Python that I want the integer to be displayed within 5 spaces right justified. So if I hit enter, you can see that it's added 4 spaces, and then the integer value takes up the 5th space. So let's just do this one more time. But this time I will display a different integer. I will display an integer with actually that has 5 places. So if I go ahead and hit return, it'll print that information out. As you noticed, it prints it out in those 5 spaces. So what happens when you go ahead and you specify an integer that may be longer than the field that you specified? So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I will go ahead and hit enter. And what it does is it does not truncate that number. It'll just go ahead and specify it with the exact number of places. So that's how you can go ahead and add some spaces before an integer value when you want to display that integer out. So what we're going to look at is next some fixed point notation. So this is where we can actually specify how many decimal places to the right of the decimal point that we want to appear when that number gets displayed. So it'll just be print. And then what we're going to specify is F. So that is for fixed point notation. And what I will do is I will just go ahead and format my 4. And what that does, by default, it'll go ahead and add 6 places of precision. So what we see is we see 6 places after the decimal point. But say, for instance, if we want to maybe format that number with more or less precision. So what we can do is we can actually specify the precision we want to format that number 2. So let me just go ahead and copy and paste this. So what I'm going to do is how you do that is after the colon, you can go ahead and specify the decimal point and then the number of places to the right that you want the number to be formatted and displayed. So now we should see 4 with 0.00. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at one more example using both the format function and f-strings. So we're going to go ahead and specify 4 floating point numbers. And let me see, I misspelled that. So let's get rid of the point, 67.9654. And then finally our 3 point, which will be equal to minus 86.74567. 74567. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to format that 1 point number with one place to the right of the decimal point, the 2 point number with 2 places to the right, and the 3 point number with 3 places to the right. So let me just go ahead and write my print statement. And then I will add in my replacement field, 0.1f, and then we will add a space between the numbers, 0.2f. We'll add a space between the numbers, 0.3f. And that looks like all of my replacement fields. So what we need to do is we need to pass in our 3 variables, 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point. And then I will go ahead and hit enter. Oh, and it looks like I messed things up. Oh, I misplaced, did not add in colon there. So Control C, we'll go ahead and add that down. What I am missing is the colon right there. So I will go ahead and hit return. So now you can see that my numbers, the first number is formatted to 54.3. The second number is formatted to 67.97. And the third number is formatted to 86,746. And as you can see, rounding does occur when you use the format function. So the other thing I just wanted to do is I wanted to go ahead and print the same information out, but I want to make sure each number, it takes up 10 spaces when it gets printed out. If the number does not include 10 numbers or decimal points, then spaces are added. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to add 10 to before each of my decimal places, and what that'll do is that'll display the numbers within 10 spaces. So if I go ahead and hit enter, you notice that the numbers are spaced out accordingly. And the final thing we're going to do is we're going to print the same information out, but we're going to go ahead and use an F string. So again, I need to specify F, then my open and closing colons. So in order to do this, I specify the name of my variable, then a colon, and then my form, how I want to format it. So it's 1F, and then space, open, closing curly braces, 2 point, 0.2F, and then a space and then 3.:3f. Okay, so we will go ahead and hit return, and then it formats it the same way up above. And say, for instance, if we wanted to format so that each number was 10 spaces, included 10 spaces, then we could just preface 10 before the point, and we go ahead and hit enter, and it's spaced out accordingly. So again, what we covered is two common formatting methods that you can use to format strings. So we will go ahead and talk to you later.